Hi, I'm Sky from Sunny Girl Cakes, and today I'm going to teach you how to apply gold leaf to a fondant finish cake. So what you'll need is a turntable, a fondant finished cake, some gold leaf, some water and a brush, and then also a dry brush to brush over later on. I've also got a bit of paper towel so that I can dab my wet brush onto the paper towel. Alrighty, let's get started. So gold leaf is very delicate and sometimes hard to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is brush my surface with water. I'm going to apply the gold leaf from the top, measuring from the top down. So I need to wet the surface so that then when I apply the gold leaf, it will stick. So I'm wetting the surface, but I don't want to saturate it. So these are the gold leaf sheets. As I said, they're very delicate. They come stuck to a piece of tissue paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to hold them up onto the cake so that it sticks. Try not to touch the leaf, because if you touch the leaf you can actually destroy it. So basically we're just holding it up there and letting it fall onto the cake, and then smoothing it the best we can without making any creases. The thing about gold leaf is it is imperfect. So you're going to have flaws, you're going to have little pieces that break off, you're going to have little gaps in your gold leaf. It's not going to be flawless. I think that's actually what makes it so beautiful. It is a little bit imperfect, just like me. So once you've pressed the gold leaf against the cake, I'm doing it quite gently, but I want to make sure that it is making contact with the cake. I then peel from one of the corners back the tissue paper, and you can see that the leaf has stuck where we've wet the cake. It looks beautiful. So what I did when I wet the cake is I went a little bit further than the leaf so that we didn't have to wet near the leaf again. And so then again, without a too damp brush, I'll go a little bit further around the cake, so that each time you've gone a little bit further than the next size piece of leaf. If you've spent a bit too much time between pieces, you might need to go close to the edge again. You want to try not to touch that leaf with your brush, or you're probably going to tear it apart. Okay, again, holding the leaf by the corners. This is the tricky bit, because we've got to try and match up the edges. We'll do our best. So holding the leaf and just popping it on there. You can see my hand shaking around a bit. So if it's not quite straight, that's okay, because you're not going to really notice it at the end. Again, just pressing it down gently. Now I've got a bit come up over the top here, but because I haven't got any water on the top of that cake, that bit will just be able to be brushed off, so we can still keep a nice kind of reasonably straight edge at the top. Pressing it down. You can see it's kind of cracking in places. So again, just dragging the tissue paper back. And there we go. So we've got a few spots where it hasn't stuck. We'll leave that for the moment, and we might come back and see if we can fill them up with some leaf when the rest of the area is kind of dry. I'll again apply another piece. Just making sure the surface is wet. So what I'm using here is edible gold leaf. It's 24 karat gold. You can see it blowing away in the wind. That time I kind of rested my hand on top of the cake just to sturdy it. Pressing it down, trying to get all those air bubbles out. And once again. So that one was pretty good. So I'll keep going around the cake until I meet back around to the other side. Oh, I just put my thumb in it. Okay. It takes a while to get the hang of putting the leaf on because it is so delicate and you feel like you're shaking around everywhere. But like I've said before, I think the imperfect bits are the perfect bits. So with these little flyaway pieces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush them back down with my dry brush. So this is a really, really soft dry brush, and I'm just going to get them and brush them back down. And as you can see, they kind of disappear. It pays to wait until your surface is a bit dry before you start to brush. But you can see here we've got a little bit of a join, so I'm just going to brush that down. And then it almost disappears. So you can see I've got a little bit of spot here, a little bit of spot here, and also stuck my finger in that bit here. But we'll fix that up. Okay. You don't want to touch it too much because you might just put more holes in it. Depending on the style of cake you're doing, you can go back around and fill these gaps with your gold leaf if you're wanting the gold leaf to go all the way to the base of the cake and be flush. If not, what we can do is we can use a ribbon and we can just tie the ribbon around the base and you will never see the gap. Like that. Okay, so we're almost back to where we started, and then I can go around and fix up any imperfect spots, kind of. So if you can get it straight to the edge, then you've done a really good job. So I've gone all the way around once, and as you can see, there's lines here, there's little gaps. I'm going to go back around now and give it a bit of a brush with my dry brush and finish those lines off. So just as I brush them, you can see them flatten back down and they almost disappear. Now I want to try and fill some of these little holes and gaps that we've got. It's best not to throw away any of this excess that hasn't come off the first time round because you would hate to waste that. We can use that now to fill these little gaps. So I need to add a little bit of water, but I need to do it very carefully so that I don't wet too much of the cake. So here is a little bit of a gap that we need to try and fill. So I'm just going to try and delicately paint where it needs to be filled. And then get this little extra bit. I'm going to see if I can patch it up, basically. It's expensive gold leaf, so we don't want to waste it. Oh, look at that. So again, here I'll just have a little bit of water there, and I'm going to put a little bit on this section here. Again, try not to put too much water. See how I'm destroying the gold leaf with the water. And then I'm going to try and lay a piece over that, try and fill those gaps. See, I'm scared. So it's only going to stick where it's wet. So we're hoping for a piece here at the top, and then perhaps some bits in the middle to fix those gaps. There we go. So that's really good. We've pretty much covered those gaps, and what I'm going to do with that excess is I'm just going to brush it down with my dry brush really gently. So same around here with this one here, we've got excess on this piece where I put my thumb. Just a little bit of water to make it stick. Might even put a little bit here too. And I'm going to aim to use this piece here. And see, that's even better already. And again, you can sometimes pick up little pieces and put them in other spots if you're lucky. I think it's important to tell your client that the gold leaf is never going to look perfect if you're going to use gold leaf. So they understand what they're getting. So there is some spots that I might add a little bit more to the bottom, just to make it come down a little bit lower. So I don't want to put a super fat ribbon on there. So just here maybe. So I would suggest, if you are going to work all the way to the bottom, that you still start at the top, because you've got that perfect edge on the leaf that you can try and match it up as perfectly to the top and work to the bottom. What I might do to make it easier to fill the bits around the bottom is cut the leaf into smaller pieces. So I'll put another piece of tissue over the top and I'll just cut smaller pieces. And so if you were going all the way to the bottom, you'd paint all the way to the bottom and then just lean your leaf right up against that. Just have a look and assess where I'm at. Put a little bit here. You definitely don't want to touch the leaf with your fingers. One more piece here, and then I think I'm going to stop. Okay, so I'm happy with how perfectly imperfect that looks, and what I'm going to do is use a ribbon to fill the base gap, and I think that will really work. So that's my tutorial on how to apply gold leaf to a cake. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to cover a baseboard and then stack 2 tiers on top of one another. For photos of my beautiful designs, please check me out on Instagram at Sunnygirl Cakes and also on Facebook.